Here now is Dennis Zakas, chairman of TAG's Top 40 Committee.
Hey everyone, I just wanted to take a minute to introduce the next segment of the program because it is a new segment that we've just put in this year at the instigation of the summit chairman, Robert Hendricks, who approached, I think he made reference to this, had the idea that let's leverage the innovation aspect from the top 10, top 40, and try to have more programming along those lines. And so we came up with a concept of an innovation segment where we focus on innovative technologies, innovations that don't necessarily have any commercial use so far or haven't shown any traction, unlike the top 10 and the top 40, where a critical ingredient is whether the company's an innovative technology company that has traction and is going to create jobs and make an impact on the economy. So you saw as the kickoff, the first of these was Shimon the robot, and I thought it was pretty cool. In this next segment, we continue with the theme of innovations, and we have Foxtail Games, Emory's Drive, and Georgia First. So just a brief introduction of these. First, Foxtail Games, 4 University of Georgia students formed this company, which is developing, I think it's called modified reality, a modified reality game. The company was a bit early for the top 10, but it fit right into the new innovation segment. And last week, they were selected as a finalist in the competition at South by Southwest in Austin. So they are doing really cool stuff. Shifting gears a little bit, the next presentation will be by Drive, which is the drug innovations at Emory, which was founded by Dr. Dennis Leota after he and his colleagues developed a revolutionary AIDS treatment plus a drug for hepatitis C. We'll hear how this novel organization is tackling some of the world's toughest viruses. Finally, thanks in part to an introduction by Frank Baya, who's been with the summit every year from the beginning, we have Georgia First, which sponsors the Georgia High School Robotics Competition. Their goal is to inspire young people to be science and technology leaders. So we look forward to these innovations, and be sure to check out the tabletops of Foxtail Games and Georgia First in the lobby. Ladies and gentlemen, Justin Lennox of Foxtail Games.
Which would you rather have? A picture of a cheeseburger or the real thing? The answer is obvious, right? You can touch this. You can smell it. You can even taste it. It's delicious. Let's try another one. Which would you rather have? A video game on a virtual screen or the real thing? My name is Justin Lennox, and I'm here with Foxtail Games to introduce you to our newest product, Brave New World. It's going to revolutionize the way we look at both toys and video games. But first, let's talk about video games for a second. Here we go. Video games have been around since the 1950s, and while they definitely look better now, the basic format is still the same. You, the gamer, exists only in the real world, whereas the video game exists only in the virtual world on a screen. We want to combine the best of both of these and bring virtual video games into the physical world with you. That's where Brave New World comes in. We've created custom toy game pieces that allow you to build your very own video game level in the real world with your own 2 hands. Then open up the Brave New World app, and we bring the level to life using augmented reality. We've even designed Brave New World so that once you finish building your level, you can save it and send it to friends for them to try and beat. We're creating an experience that lives in the same place you do, so you can build it around your world and your environment. Now, we also have a booth set up, so if you've enjoyed this presentation, I would invite you to come visit us outside. Thank you, and this is A Brave New World.
forget the night I met you. That's all I'm dreaming
Good morning. I'm Dennis Leota from Emory University, and I want to tell you about an initiative we call Drug Innovation Ventures at Emory, or the acronym DRIVE. And the world of biopharmaceuticals has changed dramatically over the past 20 years. Pharmaceutical companies, do less and less discovery and instead typically fill their pipeline by licensing in technologies from research universities or biotech companies. So that's good. That provides us with good opportunities in universities to sell assets for further development to pharmaceutical companies. A number of less good things have happened. Our funding sources, the US government and venture capital, have both become stingier in a variety of ways. The NIH budget has been flat for the past dozen years, and the venture capital community is increasingly risk adverse, especially because we have timelines for development that are 8 to 15 years, and most don't want to invest in that long of an asset development without getting a more rapid return on their investment. And so we feel that research universities have to change what we do to make ourselves more viable. And as background, one of the pivotal events was the Bayh-Dole Act of 1980 that allowed universities to own its own intellectual property. And this was very important for us because it enabled us to provide a complementary research track to what pharma does. So we're not for profit, and so we can go after diseases that are not necessarily have large markets, but still have large needs. The problem is we reach a certain point, affectionately called the valley of death, where we simply can't get the resources or the infrastructure we need to go forward. One of the problems we have also is if we do have a successful technology and we get some returns in, virtually every university has an intellectual property policy with a revenue sharing plan, and that revenue sharing plan distributes any revenue you get in immediately to a variety of stakeholders, but it doesn't allow you to reinvest in your technology and move it forward. So this made drug development in particular in universities a virtually impossible task to do. So we created DRIVE, which is a wholly owned subsidiary of Emory, and it's managed by a group of highly experienced people from pharma and biotech. We have a world-class advisory board to keep us on track, and we invested $20 million to get it going. The most important feature on this slide, however, is that we use revenues and successes from major market disease therapeutics to subsidize research in neglected small market diseases. So we have a mixed portfolio of diseases that we go after, and when we have a success with a major market disease, we use that to subsidize the other. We focus particularly on single-stranded RNA viruses, and there are a bunch of them listed here. With the exception of hepatitis C, none of these very important diseases have therapeutics associated with them. So we think there are tremendous opportunities for us to contribute in ways that complement what pharma does. And on the bottom you see Hep B, which is not a single-stranded RNA virus, but still has a huge market and potentially a tremendous opportunity for us to make a contribution and also bring new revenues in. This process actually works, and as one example, we started a program in Hep C in June of 2013, and in just 15 months, we were able to license the technology to a major pharmaceutical company with an initial fee of $20 million that came back to the university. So just in that one transaction, we were able to make up all of the investment that was made originally in Drive. So we think this model might be interesting. I know most of you are not interested in drug development per se. We think this model might be an interesting model for other kinds of product developments that might go on in a university setting. And one of the advantages to universities doing this is that by keeping the technology closer in and not licensing it until a later time, you'll get a much higher valuation for your technology. Most of the time in universities, we frankly leave a lot of money on the table. We license technologies at an early stage. What we try to do is bring our technologies to valuation points, milestones where we can up the value of the technology, and then if we're able to continue to develop it internally, we do. If not, we license it out, use the revenues to subsidize things that nobody else is doing. So in summary, we have a kind of unique business model. Instead of the startup model, where each time you do it, you hire a new CEO and a new chief scientific officer, you buy new equipment, you hire new scientists. We have all that in place. And when we get an infusion of revenue, we just reinvest it in the technology and then move on. So we don't have to buy this. And people who partner with us on projects have the advantage of just investing in the technology per se and not all in the ancillary costs that are associated with other aspects of that research. We have a highly experienced team who has overseen the development of drugs all the way through approval and got them to the marketplace. We have good risk mitigation and cost control mechanisms because of the point that I made that we don't really have to invest all this money again and again. We have all those things in place. When you work with Drive, you also have access to all of the physical and intellectual assets at Emory, and that is a real advantage over a typical startup company where people are on their own. Most importantly, without shareholders and investors, Drive can address the most important unmet needs rather than those that might produce the highest profits. So you've heard about Zika virus, you've heard about dengue fever, you've heard about Ebola and chikungunya, and we have drug candidates for all of these things. And we think that when these emergencies pop up, we will be in position to provide solutions that can be developed quickly and hopefully stem the tide of some of these epidemics. We also hope that as a nonprofit, we can attract investments or philanthropic investments to Drive so that we can pursue potential solutions to these unmet medical needs. Thank you very much.
Please welcome Georgia First Robotics.
Good morning. I'm Heather Rocker, proud member of Georgia's technology community, and speaking to you today as board president of Georgia First Robotics. At First Robotics, we get kids excited about STEM. We have over 1,000 teams right here in Georgia, and in fact, there are over 250,000 teams worldwide. One of the facts that's near and dear to my heart is of those 1,000 teams here in Georgia, now 34% of those participants are female. First equips, thank you, yes. I forgot my Pause for applause moment in my cards. First, equip students with the skills that we need here in our technology community. So, of course, things like programming, but also marketing, business modeling, and project management. And the soft skills that we as business leaders look for when we hire: leadership, communication, problem solving, teamwork. And we do that through a truly collaborative effort. As an advocate for STEM education, I wholeheartedly believe that the only way to effectively fill our STEM pipeline is to do that through a partnership of not only nonprofits, but corporations, government entities, and education. We have some great partners here for Georgia First, folks like GE, Georgia Power, Lockheed, Turner, NCR, and great collaborations with folks like the TAG Education Collaborative, Boys and Girls Club, 4-H, Girl Scouts, and even some unusual partnerships like the Computer Museum of America that, did you know, is in Metro Atlanta? Now you do, fun fact. So today we're talking about innovation, right? And technology is changing so fast that this is very likely the first generation of students that will take themselves out of their own jobs through the sheer pace of innovation. It's no longer enough for students to just learn a skill set like generations past. It's important that they understand how to stay on the leading edge. So the things that are going to be crucial for our students moving forward, they have to learn how to learn, be open to change, and to move fast. And to tell you more about how FIRST Robotics does that, I'm going to introduce you to our Executive Director, Connie Haynes.
Thank you, Heather. As the leading technology companies in the state of Georgia and beyond, you better than anyone understand the importance of a highly skilled, motivated, and collaborative workforce. Georgia First Robotics has committed our mission to bringing awareness of possibilities to the next generation that will fill your jobs of tomorrow and today. Through a progression of programs that starts as early as 5 years old with our first LEGO League level, and all the way through high school where future plans are set into motion. We are a mentor-based program by design, which allows our students to learn from leaders, you, and in turn it sets them up to become the leaders that you seek. Our employee engagement opportunities are meaningful and time well spent. We may call ourselves a robotics program, when in fact, we are so much more. Please watch our video.
This isn't a robot. It very well may have hydraulic arms, a drivetrain, and a circuit board, but this isn't a robot. This is a lesson in humility, hard work, and collaboration. This is a CrossFit workout for the muscle upstairs. This is an apple for the next generation of Newtons. It's a lot of things, but this isn't a robot. This is a roadmap that leads straight to engineering. This is a rock to shatter 1,000 glass ceilings, a rope to pull a generation up and out of poverty, a sledgehammer to break down cultural barriers, and a universal language spoken in every nation on Earth. And because of that, this is a compass that can help point the way to peace. But please, don't think this is just a robot. This is Glastonbury for technology. This is mission control for the next moonshot. This is the Rosetta Stone to help translate the future. This is the sport that will help us win tomorrow. This is the software to program ourselves to cure cancer, build a clean engine, or step foot on Mars. But this isn't a robot. It's a machine to build the people who will change the world.
And here to speak on behalf of the students of Georgia that will currently make FIRST more than robots, Please welcome Miss Amanda Firestone and Mr. Jacob Salomon.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Amanda Firestone. I'm a senior at Wheeler High School and president of Circuit Runners Robotics.
Hi, I'm Jacob Solomon, a junior at Grady High School and the head of business operations for Team G3 Robotics. And we're here to talk to you about how FIRST embodies the inspirational technologies that inspire the next generation of workers and leaders.
It all started from me sitting on the couch watching TV, and that show was BattleBots. I was truly fascinated about how these robots worked, and I really wanted to learn how I could do that.
As a young kid, I loved Legos, and I still love building with things today. So when I learned that my high school had a robotics team, I knew I had to join. But after 2 years of working on the fabrication side of the robot, my heart was pulled away to the other side of the team. And after hard work and moving up through the ranks, I became the head of business operations on my team. I never expected that I'd be writing grants, designing websites, and running social media accounts for a robotics team.
I also had a similar experience. I started off in the workshop, fabricating parts and wiring up electronics. But then I stepped out of that comfort zone and began writing essays and making videos in order to express my engineering creativity. I really learned that FIRST has something for everyone, and that what you will learn in FIRST cannot be experienced in a classroom.
Georgia FIRST reaches out to over 10,000 students across 1,000 teams in Georgia, teaching important skills such as communication, teamwork, and leadership skills. Students utilize these skills to solve complex and real-world challenges, helping them tackle the problems of the next century. Georgia FIRST, with the help of some of its sponsors like NASA, Google, AT&T, and Dell, is creating a future where STEM leaders are heroes and role models, inspiring the next generation's innovative and creative workforce.
And FIRST dedication to spreading robotics is infectious, where even companies are now getting involved through mentoring. Teams cannot succeed without their mentors, which range from past team alumni all the way to company executives. They help us out with everyday activities like proofreading our essays and predicting the projectile motion of a robot shooting mechanism through kinematics equations. The lessons that we learn from our mentors are truly invaluable, and we appreciate them greatly.
Georgia FIRST aims to promote STEM engagements in all levels of students' learning. Starting as early as kindergarten, students are introduced to unique challenges that help them build their important problem-solving skills. Georgia FIRST has programs in elementary schools, middle schools, and high schools, making sure that no student is left behind when pursuing STEM engagement throughout their entire learning careers.
And through that engagement through all of the grade levels, FIRST also makes it a point to ensure that everyone, regardless of their race, economic background, or gender, can be involved in a robotics team. Currently, less than 1/10 of all engineers and technology professionals are female. But on the other hand, over 1/3 of all FIRST participants are girls. Georgia FIRST is sponsored by the Girl Scouts of America, Society of Women Engineers, and Women in Technology, who provide us resources and seminars to give some girls extra support that they might need on their teams. And by engaging girls at such a young age, students like Jacob and I are working around the world in order to correct the STEM gender imbalance and ensure that everyone has an equal access to STEM careers.
Georgia FIRST showed me that a robotics team is not just about building robots. And because of my new love, I've altered my pathway to instead focusing on just business in college and career, instead of just focusing on engineering in college and career, I've taken on business as one of my big points of my learning in college and future.
It's true that the students in FIRST today are going to be in the workplace tomorrow. For example, FIRST provided me a professional background in order to obtain an internship at General Electric and achieve my lifetime goal of studying mechanical engineering at Georgia Tech. Although I am graduating, my career from FIRST is far from over. I plan to come back and volunteer at all of the events and come back and mentor these teams as a way to share the experiences and lessons that I've learned from my 4 years in FIRST.
That's who we are and what we do and why it matters. And that tomorrow Amanda was talking about is happening now. So please come to our booth outside to learn how you can help mold the next generation of innovators and creative leaders in our workforce today.
Thank you.
Thank you.